तो प्याला पूरा भर ले.
Tough to say really what I've learned. I think it's been a very challenging, enjoyable experience as an actor to be part of the film. It was very nice to have learned about his life. I must say I really didn't know that much about him. What made him this icon of India. So there was learning in it for me. I also do feel, I mean, just to add a little bit to what Rakesh was saying earlier, I feel that with every generation that's kind of growing up in India and in various countries, you always need reference points, you know, of I won't call them role models because that's too much of a burden on one person really, you know, but you need reference points in terms of things that you can add, people who can aspire you, say, events that can aspire you, can motivate you, can inspire you, can give you a sense of identity, can give you a sense of something to want to reach out and move forward progressively in a positive way. And I think his life is a great reference point, you know, for young people. Some may get it, some may just enjoy the entertainment value of the film. But I think that there is, and for us as people in film, we do all kinds of work. So once in a while we get an opportunity to also do a film like this, you know, where you learn a lot from it. You creatively explore whatever is possible within your facets to try and enhance those as much as you can. But at the same time, I feel you're giving something to people as well with this through this experience, which is you're introducing them to the life of a person who really stood for something, and he stood for something that was beyond him. He was creating an identity for himself while India was creating an identity for itself, you know, and his identity is very linked to the creation of the sporting India identity as well.
क्या देख रहे साले? स्मार्ट सरदार जी. इंडिया का कोट पाना है? वो एमए नहीं मिलता इंडिया का कोट, कमाना पड़ता है, मेहनत करनी पड़ती है, दौड़ना पड़ता है उसके लिए.
To tell a interesting story, an exciting story, any time is a good time. It's especially a story of a person who's gone into folklore, a living legend, somebody's name and accomplishments you grew up with, and as examples are quoted to us, not just on the sporting field but off the sporting field. Somewhere a name forgotten also, yes. and you're right, with a lot of noise, especially in South Asia around cricket and movies. Everything else seems to get drowned. That's what makes it more unique.
शादी करनी है तेरे नाल. ओए साडे निके निके बच्चे होंगे बहुत सारे. महेंद्र, परमिंदर, जसविंदर, धर्मिंदर, रजिंदर.
In the trailer there's the dialogue, ये आपकी ज़िंदगी की आखिरी रेस साबित हो सकती है, and Farhan, you say दोनों का भी वैसी. The dialogue, which from my point of view is a very massy dialogue which is going to get the claps in the theatre. Could you someone elaborate on the dialogues, and what is your personal favourite dialogue from the film?
You'll have to see the movie to get the context. How so much we try and explain it, it will become an intellectual exercise, because to experience that line and its context will be totally understood with the context of the story. The story is and inspired by a story, is an interpretation by the writer, it's an interpretation by the director, it's an interpretation by the actor. So you will see where it's pegged. So come to the movies.
But to add to what he's saying, I can speak about the language one has tried to use in this. There's nothing which is overtly dramatic actually. in the writing. I'm happy that you think that should get claps.
I clapped.
I'm really, really happy because what one struggles with is that one of my favorite dialogue writers, script writers in India is Javed Akhtar, and I have not seen a better dialogue writer than him. I mean, I almost worship him when it comes to dialogue writing, and he has written most iconic dialogues. Having said that, sometimes I discuss with Javed sir that our films are not supporting that kind of drama these days. We are becoming more closer to sort of real life, and we're using everyday sort of dialogues. And earlier, the theatrical style probably allowed much more sort of use of language. And today, your hands are tied up, and especially when Farhan kind of actors are there, Rakesh's kind of directors are there, who are more natural in the way they're treating the films. How do you get those claps, which used to get "Mere paas maa hai"? One dialogue and you've taken the whole nation. In a everyday spoken language, how do you? So it's actually very, very everyday spoken kind of language one has used. Little bit of course, drama is there. So I'm happy that it's creating that impact on you, and it is giving you it's saying that it looks like claps, but there has been no intentional overt dramatization of language I have tried to use. It's much more spoken, and as Rakesh is clearly saying that in context of the story, you'll understand why it's said like this, because there is a reason he speaks at that juncture like this. Of course, for trailer, you use some of the best scenes.
The high points here. So it is a high point.
So
Definitely.
the use of language is much more spoken, and in Indian cinema these days we are going more towards that. So I think probably that's my point.
Thank you.
ये आपकी जिंदगी की आखिरी रेस साबित हो सकती है।
दौड़ूंगा भी वैसे ही।